Hello friends, welcome to a new video and welcome to my new bookshelves. Oh my gosh, I finally have shelves after accumulating so many books and not having shelves. It was a little bit ridiculous and it was about time, so I am absolutely stoked to be filming in this space. I absolutely love them, even though they're nowhere near where I want them to be organizationally wise. Hold please. We have a kitty intermission. Yeah? He loves them too, actually. He has tried to climb my shelves many times, haven't you? Yes. But this is like a dream come true, and I walk in this room and I'm like, this is what people must feel like, to be able to see all their books at once. It's just so calming and so peaceful. I love being in this room now. It's not like a bunch of books against the wall scattered everywhere. I am just so excited to finally have this space and have things set up. But I thought, what better video to film in front of my shelves than a birthday book haul. I think I just recently did a book haul, but I don't normally buy this many books in 1 month, so I figured it'd be worth the haul, and I hope you guys get some new and fun recommendations. I have some gifts from friends, some gifts from family. I have a couple arcs that I want to talk about that I'm super excited for. So I guess this is kind of like a January book haul, but I'm definitely not going to be doing a book haul monthly because, like I said, I normally don't buy this many books in 1 month. So without further ado, let's just dive in. So I figured I would start with the middle grade, young adult, and then we would go to graphic novels and manga because I actually surprisingly have all of those here. And then we can talk about some arcs as well. But first of all, let's just start with middle grade. First up, we have Sweep, The Story of a Girl and Her Monster by Jonathan Auxier, and I have seen this book around a lot. It's been on my radar for quite some time now, and I figured I would pick it up since middle grade March is coming up just next month, and I'm planning to read middle grade like that entire month. But this is about a girl named Nan who is apparently a chimney sweeper. That is her job, and one day she gets stuck in a chimney and she thinks like, this is it, I'm done for. And apparently she makes her way up to an attic somehow, and she finds this creature in the attic, and I think they probably become friends. At least that's what I'm assuming. This sounds so cute. My friend Bree says she loves it. Everyone I know that has read it has said they loved it. I think it just looks absolutely adorable. I love when there's like creatures and fantasy elements in books, so I knew I had to get this one. And I also have Amal Unbound by Aisha Saeed, which, by the way, absolutely gorgeous cover. I'm obsessed with this book. We have a girl named Amal who has this big dream of being a teacher, but she somehow insults the ruler of her Pakistani clan, I believe, and so she's forced to become a servant at their estate. So all her hopes and dreams are dashed. I think she finds out some secrets or some interesting things that is oppressing her clan, or just some terrible things that's going on behind the scenes, basically. I'm really interested to see where this one goes. I don't know much about it because I haven't heard a lot about it. We actually chose this for the 3 Blondes in a Book Club with Zoe and Kaylin for March pick because it's middle grade March. So this is our choice for that. If you're interested in joining the book club, there's always the information in the description below. But yeah, this is our choice, and I'm obsessed with this cover. And the publisher so kindly sent me this middle grade called One Jar of Magic by Corey Ann Haydu. This sounds so cute and very magical. We have Rose Alice Anders, whose father is kind of like the god of magic or something like that, and so everyone in the town has been waiting for her to turn 12 because when you turn 12 you can join the New Year's Eve capturing of magic in jars, and so everyone's capturing all of their magic and they know who they're supposed to be, but for some reason she is only able to capture 1 jar of magic, and so she's trying to figure out who she is, who she wants to be, what her talents are. So I think this is a book of self-discovery more than it is like magical fantasy elements, so I'm really eager to see how this is going to play out. I thought this cover was just so cute, and when they asked if I wanted a copy, I immediately had to say yes. So yeah, another one that I am probably going to be trying to read for middle grade March. And next, to kick off the young adult books that I got, is Lovely War by Julie Berry. I have actually started this and I'm 100 pages in, and it is so good. I typically don't lean towards historical fiction. You probably haven't seen a lot of that on my channel, but I'm reading it with my two friends, Brie and Keisha, who are pushing me to read it because I know a lot of people have raved and ranted about it, so I know it's going to be good. And it also has to do with these Greek gods. So they are able to come into the mortal world and kind of mingle and I guess kind of control some mortals' lives. So we have Aphrodite, who, you know, is the god of romance, and Apollo, and all these different characters that are hilarious. Like, the banter in between them is just the best thing ever. And then of course this is actually a romance, and so we have this two young couple who just want to be together, but he has to go off to war, and it's already breaking my heart a little bit, and I know I'm just gonna end up in tears, but those are the best kind of books. I don't think I've ever read a historical fiction that did not make me cry, so I know this one is gonna be so good, and it's just such an interesting element to include mythological gods and Greek gods, and just really interesting. So I'm really enjoying this one so far. I didn't think I would, honestly, but it's really great. I have been so excited to get my hands on this one, a newer release that I cannot stop seeing everywhere I go. That is These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong. This cover is magnificent. Chef's kiss, I love it so much, which was another big reason why I had to own it. Honestly, half the reason why I buy books, well, most of the reason, to be honest, why I buy books is because of the covers. So this was definitely a cover buy, but also it's a Romeo and Juliet retelling, which is very interesting to me. It takes place in 1926 Shanghai, which I love Chinese Asian culture. I think it's just so interesting, and I have a feeling this book is just going to be so beautiful and vivid, and I just cannot wait. I think this has to do with two gangs that are rivals, and I'm assuming she's part of one and he's part of one. I don't know, but I just saw the cover to the second book and it's so good. So I cannot wait to start diving into this one as soon as I can. Then we have Anne of Green Gables, which I realized I have maybe 5 or 4 classics on my shelf, which really made me sad. I really just need some more classics, and I love these cover editions. Again, I have the one to Little Women. They're so beautiful. Ugh, I love them so much. So I grew up watching the Anne of Green Gables show, the old one. I can't remember what the name of the main actress was that played Anne, but I was obsessed when I was younger, and I never read the books. This is obviously the condensed version because the series, I think, is like pretty long. I want to say it's like 6 books or something like that. Honestly, I can't remember. I love this. I had to have it. It's so cute, and I cannot wait to actually like read it because, again, obsessed with the story, obsessed with the show. I've seen like live action plays in the theater, and yeah, it's about time that I read this. And then we have another young adult fantasy called Mermaid Moon by Suzanne Cockle. I saw this mostly because Kaylin had it first, and this is the most beautiful book I have ever seen. It's not a special edition, but like, okay, they are blue teal sprayed edges, but then the front has this gorgeous flowering like paint on it, and I am just absolutely blown away by how gorgeous this book is. I hope the story is just as good, but I have this thing for mermaids. I loved The Little Mermaid when I was little. I'm obsessed with mermaids. I was a swimmer, so I had to have this book basically. This is about a girl named Sana or Sana whose mother and people are actually landish people, and there's this witch who has put a spell on them to make her mother forget that she was even born. And so Sana is on this mission to try to find her mother on land and figure out what happened. So she actually takes upon herself to be the apprentice to this witch. I don't know if the witch realizes it, but she's hoping to find her mother and figure out what happened back then. So really interesting. I just cannot wait. I think this is going to be such a cool book. It sounds like such a unique concept, and I don't often hear about like mermaids and oceans. I feel like things are very limited when it comes to trying to find books on this topic. So I saw this one and got very excited. And of course, another book that everyone has been talking about is Lore by Alexandra Bracken. I have not read or seen The Darkest Minds, but I have heard that her writing is actually really, really good. This sounds much like Percy Jackson, kind of like the mortals and the gods interweaving. I really do not know anything about it. That's pretty much the extent of my knowledge, but I just think I'm gonna love this because Greek mythology is something that I have always had an interest in, but I have very little knowledge on, so I'm hoping this will increase my knowledge, and between this and The Lovely War, I think I will be able to learn more. So I'm really excited to have this book. It's really interesting and really cool. Like, the cover is just, it's got all these like snakes and the black and white matte tone of like being a Medusa statue. I don't know. I geek out over covers. I could go on and on about artwork all day, but I won't do that to you. And again, another amazing cover, which is Girl Serpent Thorn by Melissa Bashardalst. I'm not really sure how you pronounce that. This sounds so cool. I believe it's actually a standalone. I could be wrong, but I am always interested in standalone fantasies because there's so many series out there and I can never get through them all. So when I heard, I think this is a standalone, again, don't quote me on it. I don't have my phone near me to check, but I just got really excited, and it's actually pretty thin, which again is a little bit scary because with fantasy you kind of have to do a lot of world building, but this sounds more character driven because it's about a girl who's basically poisoned and her brother is about to get married. So on his wedding day, she's trying to decide if she wants to come out of the shadows and possibly harm people, but apparently to come out of herself is the only way to find freedom. So I don't know much about it. It's a little bit vague in the synopsis, but it sounds really cool. I've heard amazing things, and yeah, I'm sure I'm gonna love it because I love basically anything fantasy. Going off of that fantasy rant, we have Jade City by Fonda Lee. I have seen this all over the place. Again, I feel like people influence me big time when it comes to getting books. If I see it all over the place, I'm like, well, there must be a reason, so apparently I need that book. But this is actually adult, which I have not read a lot of adult fantasy. I tried to read a Brandon Sanderson book, I think Warbreaker, and I think I had to return it to my library, but I don't know, I just have a really hard time understanding when there's a lot of politics going on, and it's a little less enjoyable to me, and I feel like young adult is a little bit easier to read. I don't know, maybe I'm just lazy in my reading habits, but I'm really excited to get to this one. I don't know much about it. Apparently there is this jade, like this magical jade. I don't know much about it, so I'm going to read a little snippet off the back for you. It says, for centuries, honorable greenbone warriors have used magical jade to enhance their abilities and defend the island of Canon from foreign invasion. Now the war is over and a new generation vies for control of Cacon's bustling capital city. 4 siblings of the powerful Call family must prepare for battle, and the fragile peace between the clans is about to break. Already it said 4 siblings, so I know that's why it caught my attention in the first place. It's a very vague synopsis. It just sounds, I don't know, it sounds so cool. I've been wanting to dabble in adult fantasy more and kind of branch out from young adult because that's what I'm used to. So that is part of the reason why I got this book, and I hope it lives up to the hype. It won a World Fantasy Award in 2018, so I'm kind of wondering why it's blown up in 2020 and 2021, but I don't know, that must mean that it's good. This book, Dune by Frank Herbert, is very intimidating to me, but I have been in a very big sci-fi mood lately. I have really wanted to explore sci-fi, and apparently this is like the biggest, most epic science fiction novel out there. I don't even know if they released the movie yet, but I really want to watch the movie, so I would love to have read this book before I watch the movie. But yeah, that's basically the extent of my knowledge on it. I hope it's not too hard to understand. I think this actually was written in the 60s, so I don't know if it's considered a little bit more of a classic. I guess we'll find out. I partially wanted this because Darling Desi here on YouTube, she loves this book. This is basically like one of her favorites. So I knew I had to try it because we have very similar reading tastes, so I'm excited to see what I think. Then we have The Institute by Stephen King, which again, I'm a little intimidated by. I read Pet Sematary, was not really my favorite, but this one sounds very interesting and a lot more sci-fi dystopian about these kids who are basically getting experimented on because they have some type of superpower. So these kids will, I don't know if they'll get taken away or how they like pick out or hand choose these kids, but they basically set them up in a room or home that they grew up in, so it's a familiar space to them, but they're getting tested on. So that's literally all I know. Zoe and Kaylin loved this book actually and were pleasantly surprised, so I'm definitely willing to try that. And this book is actually, okay, it is quite a long one, just kidding. I was thinking it was like 300 pages because it looks teeny compared to the hardback, but yeah, this is still a 500-page book, so it might take me a little while to get through it, but it just sounds like a very, very interesting concept. I think his writing is actually very addicting, but I didn't love the horror subject gory matter that I read in Pet Sematary, so I'm hoping this one will be more up my alley. This book I am so excited to have in my hands. Honestly, I have been dying to read this since the day it came out. Is The Invited by Jennifer McMahon. I loved her book Winter People. It was very interesting, a little bit Stephen King-ish vibes, but I absolutely loved it, and she is probably one of my top favorite thriller authors, and I have only read one book by her, so that says a lot. I actually have The Night Sister by her, but this one has been on the top of my list to read of hers next. And let me just read a little bit of a snippet for you because I don't want to read the whole synopsis. It's very intriguing. It says, a chilling ghost story with a twist. The New York Times bestselling author of The Winter People returns to the woods of Vermont to tell the story of a husband and wife who don't simply move into a haunted house. They build one. Yeah, I am already creeped out. I literally have goosebumps right now. So yeah, this is gonna be one of the top thrillers that I pick up next. She is so great. Her writing is so vibrant, and the way she just like writes a very small sentence and you're like, but wait, I need to know what just happened. It's like she leaves you on all these little cliffhangers of just sentences throughout the whole entire book, and I hope she does that in this one because it's phenomenal. It's so good. If you're a mystery thriller reader and you have not read like anything by her, please do. Like, it's fantastic. She's amazing. And then I had a couple arcs that I wanted to share with you because these are actually on my most anticipated list to read. I put them in my video that I made, so I'm so excited to have these, and I think I have another one coming, so I debated on waiting to film this video, but I really want to share these two with you guys. The first one is The Chosen and the Beautiful. I don't know how to pronounce that name. Nghi, last name is Vo. This cover is absolutely stunning. Again, I love Asian culture. It's so vibrant, it's so fun, it's just so beautiful and peaceful, and this is a Great Gatsby retelling. So I think it's historical. I'm really not sure. I'm sure it has to do with the 1920s in some way. Literally, that's all I know about it. I love The Great Gatsby, so of course I had to get my hands on this one, and I'm really excited to read it, so thank you to the publisher for being willing to give me this beautiful copy. I can't wait. It comes out in June if you guys are looking to pick this one up. Again, if you love The Great Gatsby, this is a must read. And then I have a debut by Jessica S. Olsen called Sing Me Forgotten, and I believe that this comes out March 9th. So fairly soon if you're looking to pick up a new fantasy and support a debut author. This is about a girl named Isda who's cast into this well, sent to die because she's one of the very few left who, when she sings, people forget their memories. But there's this opera house owner who actually finds her, takes her in, and I think he's trying to manipulate her. I think there's a little bit of romance, of course, and it sounds super good. I just love when I hear of like a fantasy book that has an element to like an opera or a circus, or I don't know. There's just certain things in fantasy that I'm like, yep, I'm sold on that one. It's such a pretty book, and it says for fans of Bridget Kemmerer, Kirsten White, and Victoria Schwab, which I all love. all of those. So I think this is going to be a really good one. And then I thought I would go ahead and share my book of the month choices with you guys. I actually haven't gotten a book of the month in a long time. I don't really know why that is. I guess they haven't really interested me recently. But the first one I got is Girl A by Abigail Dean. This is a debut thriller, which I am very excited to read. I don't know much about it, but I know there's these siblings. I think there might be 6 or so. There's quite a few of them, so I think this takes place at different viewpoints of different siblings or something like that. But basically their parents set up for them like this awful house creepy situation when they were kids. They're trying to get together as adults and just kind of go through their trauma and past, and yeah, it sounds really depressing and really sad, but I'm definitely willing to give it a shot. And my next choice is We Could Be Heroes by Mike Chen. I have not seen this book anywhere. I've not seen anyone talk about it. I just saw it on their website and I was like, oh, that sounds so cool. It has to do with 2 people that have superpowers, so let me just read this to you. It says, Jamie woke up in an empty apartment with no memory and only a few clues to his identity. But with the ability to read and erase other people's memories, a power he uses to hold up banks to buy coffee, cat food, and books. Zoe is also searching for her past and using her abilities of speed and strength to deliver fast food. And she'll occasionally put on a cool suit and beat up bad guys if she feels like it. This just sounds like a really cool like twist on superheroes and powers rather than like the big like Marvel iconic people. I think this is supposed to portray people as living normal lives even though they have superpowers. So I think these 2 might become friends or fall in love, but I'm just so interested and intrigued because I haven't seen or heard of like a superhero type book coming out recently. So this was definitely intriguing to me, and I will eventually let you guys know what I think. Now, getting into the graphic novel manga books that I have here is In Real Life. This sounds so interesting and so cool, especially if you're like a big time video gamer. This is about a girl named Anda, I believe, who plays this online game religiously. She's really good at it, and then she discovers one day that someone's basically rigging the game and like selling gold or doing something that has to do with the currency in the game, and I think everything in this book might come to life. I could be wrong, but it just sounds super cool and adventurous, and I like playing video games when I can, so love the cover. So cool with just the 2 girls leading different lives on it. So I am very intrigued to see how this one goes. I haven't heard a lot about it, and I don't know, I just figured that why not try it? Just because it's not popular doesn't mean it's not gonna be good. And then I have volume 12 of The Promised Neverland. I'm not gonna explain this manga again because I talk about it all the time. I'm now on 12. I think there's 16 to 18 in print right now, or they're printing 18. I can't remember. You can also read this online if you want. It's basically like a kids at an orphanage that kind of goes wrong and it turns into a little bit of horror. Very adventurous, but I love the kids. They're so cool and so sweet. But yeah, this is one of my favorites, so I had to pick up the next one. And then my newest manga addiction is Witch Hat Atelier. So I have volumes 2 and volume 3 here. I love this. It is so sweet and absolutely so cute. It's about a girl named Coco who stumbles upon this journal that this witch on the side of the road has given her, which she was little and she didn't realize when she was playing on the streets that that was a witch. Not a good thing to take from a witch, a journal. And then she figures out that she can write in this journal to cast spells. So she accidentally casts a spell, a forbidden spell, that sends her mother basically to damnation. So this is all about her going on an adventure, becoming a witch and an apprentice, and there's about 3 other girls here who she's kind of at like the school with and who she's learning from, and she's really young, really little. This is actually for ages 10 and up, but it is so sweet. The artwork, I have never read a manga that has such detailed artwork in here. Everything about it is just, it's so good. I absolutely adore this manga. I would definitely say it's also a really good starter one to get into if you are wanting to get into manga. This one is definitely easy to understand, but the illustrations are fantastic. I love the story. I love witches, so definitely a new favorite. And then I also have volume 3 of Spy Family, which is another new favorite of mine. There's this man who's trying to go on this mission. He's on this mission, he has to create this fake family, so he picks up this little girl from the orphanage, and all she ever wanted is a family, and then he finds his wife at like this consignment store, and so they start living together, and they're like growing this bond, and the wife is like so cool. She has like these super fighting abilities that's just hilarious, and yeah, so it's really good. I love it and I laugh out loud every time I read it. And then we have Weathering with You, which I believe was turned into a movie last year. This hasn't really gotten super great or rave reviews, but I figured I would give it a shot because it is only like a 3-volume manga. So I read this and it was okay. It was like a 3-star, but essentially there's this girl who has this superpower to create sunshine or give people sunshine. It's basically always raining in Japan, and so people pay her to bring them sunshine on their special day. Whether it is a wedding, whether it's just an event, or if they're feeling sad or depressed, they can actually pay her. And we have this boy who's kind of like a, I guess you could say like a journalist writer, kind of like a reporter. And so he's writing all these articles on her, but they actually become really good friends. So a little bit of romance blooming there. Not my favorite manga, but it's still really cute, and I feel like a great one to start out with if you haven't read manga before. I also read this book called Sweetness and Lightning. I'm not sure how many volumes there are, but this is definitely very cooking heavy and baking, so if you're into like cooking baking shows, you would probably like this. It's about this single dad and his daughter, and it's so cute. I think his wife passed away, but we haven't quite gotten to that point yet of finding out what happened. But he basically befriends this student because he's a teacher. He doesn't realize she's a student, but they own a local restaurant, and all he wants for his daughter is to feed her yummy home-cooked meals, but he has no clue how to do it. So the student teaches him how to create these amazing meals because her mom owns this restaurant and she has all the skills to do it. She's also really scared of using knives because she had a terrible accent when she was younger, so she puts him to work on the cooking. He learns real quick, and it's really cute. It's very character driven based. There isn't a lot of like plot going for it, but if you're in the mood for something that's more character driven, I would give this a shot. But yeah, it's really cute and I enjoyed it. And last but not least is Pandora Hearts Volume 1. I did not realize that this was actually so popular until I saw it one day on Goodreads and all the ratings and reviews, and I was like, okay, well clearly I need to try this out because I have never heard of it before. But we have this boy who basically is condemned to this other world because he commits a sin that he didn't realize he committed, and then he meets this girl and they go on an adventure. So that's all I know about it. It sounds really good. It is for older teens actually, so there might be a little bit of gore and things in here. I'm really not sure. I have yet to read it, but I am really excited to give it a shot because it is so popular. Alright friends, well that about does it for this big birthday book haul. Thank you to so many friends and kind people that sent me books for my birthday, and to the publishers for sending me some of my most anticipated arcs. I hope you enjoyed this video and got some recommendations out of it, and yeah, I hope you guys are doing well wherever you are. I hope that this year is starting out for you to be a better one than last year. But I hope you guys have a great day wherever you are. I love you so much. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you in my next video.